Morning guys, so this is the last tutorial I have planned, but if you guys want to see something else, let me know and we can bake away. Today's tutorial is going to be Confetti Cookies. They are not only one of my favorites, but when I make them for my friends, they can't get enough. You might have seen my friend Livstagram and tried to make some earlier this week, so I'm going to make some today and we're going to make them together. These cookies seem a little daunting because they have a few steps, but once you do them, they're really not that hard. The first thing we're going to do is make our crumb. It's kind of a birthday cake crumb. So I'm just mixing my sugars, some brown sugar and white sugar, oil, sprinkles, and flour into a bowl. And this is all that it needs in order to make this birthday cake crumb. Now in the original recipe, sometimes it calls for grapeseed oil and glucose and all these other ingredients that I don't necessarily have. So I actually sub them in just for all-purpose flour, vegetable oil, all the regular ingredients that you might have on hand. Especially right now while we're in quarantine, you don't really have a lot of options in terms of ingredients. So whatever you have should work. Once all of my dry ingredients are in the bowl, I'm going to place it onto the mixer, and that's when I'm going to add in my oil and vanilla. There isn't egg or anything in this crumble because it's literally just a crumb. You're going to see in your bowl, it looks kind of dry, not really coming together. That's totally okay. It's not supposed to be a dough. It's just crumbs. So you're going to put this on your baking tray and you're going to bake it in the oven for 20 minutes and let it cool. The reason we do that first is because you have to let it cool before you add it to your cookie dough. To start our cookie dough, I add the butter, sugar, and in my case, corn syrup. The original recipe calls for glucose, but it wasn't something I had on hand. So instead of 2 tablespoons of glucose, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of corn syrup. You're going to let those mix together until they get really light and fluffy, and you're going to continue to scrape down your bowl the entire time. You want to make sure everything gets mixed in there evenly, and that's super important because you don't want big globs of butter or hunks of sugar that haven't been mixed in. So once everything's scraped down and fluffy, you're going to add your eggs and your vanilla, and you're going to let that whip for 7 minutes. When you let it whip for that long, you're going to see it becomes very, very pale, very fluffy, probably triples in size. That's what you're looking for before you add any of your dry ingredients. Another kind of strange ingredient in this recipe, it calls for milk powder. So it's something that you add in with your other dry ingredients like your flour and your leaveners and your salt. It is important. It kind of adds a whole new level to these cookies. If you don't have it on hand, you can easily find it in your grocery store or even Bulk Barn. So I add all of my dry ingredients to the bowl, including my sprinkles, and I mix just until combined. You don't want it to be like full dough yet because you still have one more ingredient to add, your crumb. So now that it's all cooled, you can add that into your dough, and you're going to just pulse it in slowly until everything just comes together. You really don't want to overmix your dough or overwork it because you will have very tough cookies, and that's not what we're going for. Make sure to give these cookies a lot of space on the tray because they will spread a lot. Let them bake, let them cool, and then enjoy. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment or let me know what to bake next.